The World Soul Prison Break. The ending of Midnight and the identity of the last Titan. Have Taliesin and Evitel found out how this game's going to end? How the War Within is going to end? Oh, this looks like some interesting lore. Let's see what they've figured out here. And I'm sure this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Why, yes, this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
She said it, not me.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are doing a nice little lore deep dive. And
I didn't pre-watch this, by the way. I did not pre-watch this, but I just know it's a Taliesin and it is sponsored by Squarespace.
The World Soul Prison, the World Soul empowered earthen army, and the whole conspiracy at the heart of the planet, and the World Soul Saga. Because we are now at a stage this week where we can quite confidently chart the future path of this expansion and the overall arc of the trilogy. Sorry, Blizz doesn't like it.
Exciting.
Trilogy. The multi-expansion arc. So join us as we look at the entirety of the Titan Archives reveals in War Within. Every new thing we
the lore's
learn from
coming,
it,
boys.
and ask, who really holds sway over the World Soul? Is Azeroth for or against Titans? And okay, fine. How will Midnight end? It's true. That's a genuine part of this video. Okay, go.
Oh, nice. Who is Azeroth with? The Titans or the Void? I think Azeroth's a neutral figure. That's where she comes in. She is neutrality. She is balance. Okay, there. I spoiled the whole video.
The Titans.
Right, so you know the Titan Archives quests, right? It's one of the weeklies that pops up every now and then, and you have to go off collecting Titan disc fragments until you have enough that Brinth and everyone's favourite gentle boy Dagran can access another of Arcadis's beautifully illustrated journal entries. And I feel like I'm finally able to talk about these logs properly in a video now, since we have seen all of them. I suspected we'd seen all of them in game a couple of weeks ago at entry number 5, but then this week another popped up and I got really excited and put off going to the Siren Isle and getting my amazing ring. Oh, my useless ring?
Yeah, is anybody still like trying to get the right shit for the ring? I gave up on the ring. I got 3 gems to put in it and I literally left it. I'm like, I'm not even gonna do this. I don't feel like chasing this down. I don't feel like going to get the best in slot for the ring. It's just an item level boon for me at this point. I'm just going to keep it that way. I feel like the ring was a failure. She's a fucking first one, Sam. Do not bring that fucking Shadowlands lore to my chat. What's wrong with you? We don't talk about Shadowlands around here.
Oh no. While I merrily gathered discs for Dagran, but then when I took all the discs to Dagran was like, oh, I believe we've recovered all of Arcadis's log entries. And I was all like, oh, thanks, Dagran. Maybe you could have told me that before I went to get all the discs, Dagran, but whatever, I'm glad you finally told me, Dagran. And these Titan Archives things are as simple as you like. Nothing more than Arcadis narrating the history of the Titan's arrival on Azeroth. But it is low-key the most important questline in the whole of the War Within so far, as it is undoubtedly setting the scene for events that will go way beyond this expansion and probably into the finale of the World Soul Saga itself, in a series of shocking revelations. You won't believe what Arcadis has said, so why don't we go...
By the way, he just showed, I don't know what he was showing there, like Azeroth as a troll or something, but, you know, we keep seeing images of Azeroth looking like a human or a Titan, but in all honesty, Azeroth probably, if she has a humanoid form, it probably would be a troll. At the end of the day, the trolls are like of Azeroth. All the humanoids, all the not humanoids, but all the human-looking characters, the dwarves, the gnomes, the humans themselves, like these are all Titan creations. The Vrykul, all that shit. So I highly doubt that Azeroth would look like a Titan. Because I don't think she is one. I think we basically confirmed that at this point. So she probably would look like a troll. I guess we'll find out soon.
Over everything new
Tauren racism all over again.
Arcadis's journaling. His first log entry.
Tauren are of Azeroth too, but they are aren't they like evolved centaur or something like that? So wouldn't centaur be an even more normal state? I think trolls are like very much like the first form of that life form.
Isn't super exciting. It talks about how, as the Titans scoured the great dark beyond, they came across Azeroth and immediately sensed that the world soul within it was unusually powerful. Nothing you didn't know already if you read Chronicle.
This
world soul he speaks of? Do you think that's what Grandad Magni was hearing all those years when he was a speaker?
Okay, yeah, someone really needs to pick up Dagran a copy of Chronicle. Or no, a copy of Battle for Azeroth. You're supposed to be an archaeologist, Dagran. How do you not know this? We do learn, however, that the Titans were specifically searching for the Prime World Soul, a term that we have never heard before this quest, which definitely puts a new spin on the established Chronicle interpretation. We were specifically searching for the most powerful World Soul in existence, which we know exists, and which we even have a special name for, being just a little bit different from we discovered a new World Soul, and it happens to be very powerful. Moving on to log entry 2, and this is probably the one we learn the least new information from. We are told that when the Titans got to Azeroth, they found the old gods, totally beat them in a war, and imprisoned them in the deep places of the world. They then tasked their watchers and constructs to build a vast planet-spanning series of installations, forges and the like, none of which is news to us, obviously, but we do learn that the Titans called this series of interconnected facilities the Manifold.
Now, this was important because we knew where some of these dots already were, but one of the dots, I believe, was on Dire Maul, right? And that was a weird one because we didn't consider Dire Maul to be like a Titan facility previously. So, and that was something the community found out by looking at where these dots were. So that part of this quest was interesting. And will we go back there? I think so.
They wanted to study the World Soul specifically to ascertain that it was the Prime World Soul that they were after.
I've also read that while the Titans defeated the old gods, they tore a wound in the world. I always thought that was just a metaphor.
Dagran, are you for real right now?
Literally a giant crater
of the Ancients trilogy,
in the middle of the
multi-book arc. So yeah, you may have noticed by now that Dagran and Brinth's role here is to comment on each log afterwards and basically make explicit what was otherwise only implied.
Sure.
I know writers that use subtext and they're all cowards, etc. But what she says here is quite interesting. The Void, the Titans, the Legion, every cosmological force have sought to control it or destroy it over the eons. And two things really jump out to me here. One, she appears to be flat out just saying out loud that the Titans sought to control the World Soul here, doesn't she? Assuming that they weren't trying to destroy it, that is. And that is definitely new. Heck, Arcadis...
I don't think that was new because destroying World Souls, wasn't that something that Sargeras wanted to do and his siblings disagreed with that? And that's why they fought and he defeated them and went on his burning crusade and all that shit? Like, I thought the Titans were not of the we're going to destroy all the World Souls, team. So I didn't think, when I heard this in the game, I didn't think this was new lore. Maybe I'm wrong.
Itself doesn't even say that, just that they wanted to study it. Chronicle and every other source before this has more often than not used the term nurture or protect. And to be honest, I'm not entirely certain that this line...
Okay, that's what he's saying. Nurture and protect versus control. Okay.
...survive from a previous draft of these quests, because as we'll see, Brinth certainly isn't wrong, but I don't think she should really know that
now I
at
get
this
it.
stage. The second thing
You're
is,
Fib.
well, she says every cosmological force, but she only lists 3. We know that the Death Realm also tried to take a pop at the World Soul. The Jailer used the Forge of Souls to try and...
True.
Oh god, I can't even remember. I might have been a bit checked out by then. But if you die in his boss fight, it tells you that Azeroth is a goner. But the light?
Yeah, Azeroth got destroyed, but we still don't know what he was doing. We still don't know what he was doing. Was he pushing a reset button or something?
Go back to bed.
Okay, we still have no idea why the Jailer was up to what he was, because at the end of the day, he falls to his knees and talks about how Cosmos divided could not defeat what is to come. We don't know what the fuck he was trying to do, how destroying Azeroth was going to unite the Cosmos, or what he was even talking about that was going to come. Was it going to come from space? Was it going to come on his face? We have no idea. That was part of the Jailer's, folly as a freaking endgame boss, was we still don't know what the fuck he was up to.
The Life
Badly
Realm?
written.
When have they sought to control or destroy Azeroth? I've got a sneaky feeling that we might learn more about the history of the light on Azeroth in the future, but we do also have some relevant information on the Life Realm too. In The Legend of Aluna Here, a book that we discover in the new Night Elf home of Yggdrasil in Dragonflight, we learn of a legend concerning Ionar, one of the Titan pantheon, and how, as the Titans fought the old gods, she planted a branch from the Mother World tree, Gahanir, which we
Oh,
learned
yes.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
gift to her from a loon, and she called the resulting world tree a Lunahir after her great love.
That's
OMG,
right.
you guys, are you hearing what I'm hearing here? Eonar and a loon were roommates? Now, there is a slight timeline question here, because Gahanir is the mother world tree in the Emerald Dream, and was supposedly created by Freya, Eonar's subordinate, after the old gods were defeated and they got to shaping the planet. I'm not going to dwell too much on that, though, because any
Yeah.
previous lore is
Messed up
potentially
lore.
up for grabs right now, and can be pretty easily explained away as, that's just what the Titans wanted you to think.
Yeah.
When Aman'Thul
Honestly, smart move on Blizzard's part to say that the old lore was written by the Titans, because it allows them to kind of retcon without retconning. You know, like say, oh, that was fucked up. We can't really carry that forward. And then just say, well, it's not that we're not carrying it forward. It's just that it wasn't true. It was a lie told to you by the Titans. It's writing 101, actually pretty good on their part. One of the better things they've done.
saw what Eonar had done, he chided her. "This is not order," he bellowed. "You have infected this world with uncontrolled chaos," and tore the tree, a product of the life realm, from the earth, just like he did with Yesharaj, an old god of the void. However, Eonar realized that even though Aman'Thul had destroyed the
Yeah,
tree,
Aman'Thul's really into just tearing shit apart. Hey, you don't want to be a sexual partner with Aman'Thul, that's for sure. He is very much into gripping and ripping. That's his move. So you got to stay away from him.
the roots remained intact, branching deep into Azeroth, and secretly Eonar told Freya to protect them and nurture the life that blossomed there. Now, this life eventually would certainly appear to be the Harinir, who coincidentally we also learned more about just this week in the Lingering Darkness 10.0.7 quests. We learned, for example, the heart of their society is referred to as the Cradle, and we know that it's even deeper underground than at least Hallowfall. We know that they worship the World Soul as a goddess, which suggests that they know a little about it, or have maybe even come into contact with it in some form in their history. Are they that deep underground that the Cradle is actually within sight of it? Maingal or Wayner is receiving visions from the World Soul and seeks advice from Magni about it, so maybe, like the old gods burying deep into the world, and the Titans digging deep into the world, and the Legion stabbing a big sword into the world, the World Trees are the Life Realm's version of that. Their way of digging through Azeroth's crust towards the World Soul to, well, in Brinth's words, control or destroy it.
Right. Didn't Azoth already tell us this, though? Didn't he drop a line, deeper its roots will grow? Ushering in our coming or something like that. His line was about roots, and he was obviously talking about, what's it called? Hold on. He was talking about the world trees. That's very evident. And now we're seeing roots everywhere, right? We're literally supposed to get a patch called the Rootlands. Whispers of Nyalotha. Here it is. Let me see if I can find the specific one about roots, because that's really where I got like, okay, the world trees are important here and the roots are important. Where the fuck? Find roots. There it is. With many eyes, they will see again. They will drink and be uplifted. Deeper, deeper its roots will reach, welcoming our embrace. Her dreams sing beneath the surface. Our dreams, our song. There you go. Whose dreams is he talking about? Loon's dreams? Eonar? I don't know. The world tree, obviously, roots related. So, yeah. The world tree roots going deeper. There's certainly something behind that. Seeing roots everywhere, but your hairline.
According to her, every cosmological force has tried to do one or the other after all. More on this later, but let's move on to log number 3, and this is where we really go to school. We are told that yes, Azeroth is indeed the Prime World Soul, and as the Titans constructed the Coreway, the colossal tunnel that goes straight down to the World Soul, the top of which is in Dornogal. Don't forget, if we'd got to Dwarf Town a day earlier before the Nerubian attack that opens the expansion and which destroyed the Coreway entrance, we could have just taken a trip down to the World Soul for a chat and saved ourselves a lot of time. But as they were building that big tunnel, Titans discovered huge crystals which they came to realize calcified chunks of the World Soul's essence. And like, that World Soul essence looks familiar, doesn't it? Are we to believe that Beladar, the giant crystal in the roof of Hallowfall's cavern, is not in fact a Naru or other being of the light, as they seem to believe, but instead, well, Azerite? Congealed world soul blood? Azeroth's scab? Of course, we know all about Azerite from BFA, but if
Yeah,
that's...
I never thought it was Azerite because it didn't have the bluish tinge to it. It's like strictly yellow, and it changes between void and light. So I never thought that was a big crystallized Azerite piece.
really what Beladar is, it poses some questions, like why does it appear to be so ornately carved? Why is it only
Yeah,
golden
it's also
in
very
colour,
geometric.
or sometimes only purple, and not a mix of gold and blue like Azerite is? Well, I have a little theory about that actually. What if all of those old chunks of Azerite, like the ones the Titans found when they first got here, like Beladar, are gold and have light properties because at some point in Azeroth's history, before the old gods, before the Titans or the Life Realm or anyone else got here, the light was the cosmological force that was in control of Azeroth. The light was seeking to, in Brinth's words, control or destroy the Prime World Soul. So of course any
the way I've seen these crystals so far and kind of understood them in my own mind is like they are sent out by the light, much like the old gods are sent out by the void. If you know the lore of the old gods, there is no rhyme or reason to why they land where they land. There's no plan for it. It's just like they are spit out by the void as like these infectious creatures, and with the hope that they eventually hit something, land on it, and can infect it. There is no direct targeting system or anything for that. So to me, that's what these light crystals were too, which is why we've now found two. Right? We have this one and we have the one in the Siren Isles. Is they are just shot out by the light with the hopes that they hit a planet or something, and then they can start to influence it to, prefer the light over the void kind of stuff. And that's it. They're just the old god version from the light. Revved up like Deuce, another runner of night. What? Blinded by the light. There you go, yeah.
Azerite created before the Titans' arrival would just be golden in colour, because that's light colour. Whereas now, Azerite is gold and blue, the blue reflecting the influence of order and the arcane on the World Soul. Probably quite concerning if that's true, that this giant piece of the World Soul's essence regularly shifts into a void state as well. There is another explanation, of course, and that is that Azeroth is actually a being of the Light Realm in the first place, and that's definitely possible at this stage.
I think less likely.
I don't think it is, and we'll get to why later. What do you think, Dagran?
Enormous, powerful chunks of world soul essence. Do you think Beladar and Halifal could be one of them?
Oh, Jesus dude. Oh yeah, also learn that
Stating the
Sundering
obvious.
cut off Dornegal from the rest of the Manifold and led to all the issues with the earthen running out of juice. But actually, that's not new. We learned that in the opening War Within quests. With Dagran. Dagran was there when we learned this, Daggers. Have you ever thought about making notes?
He has
occasionally?
amnesia.
Okay, it is time for log number 4. And fam, strap in, okay? Because this is where things go truly off.
Strap in and
the
strap up,
rails.
okay.
Arcadus says that to protect the World Soul from the old god's influence, the Titans constructed the World Core. And,
the prison.
We're all thinking it. That looks a bit like a prison, doesn't it? Specifically, a Titan prison, which tend to be made of discs, like the one in the Vault of the Incarnates that held Iridicron and his buddies in Dragonflight. Oh, and like the one that is literally the logo of the last.
This world is a prison. I still think that wasn't really related to all this, but somehow it actually worked out that it was. I don't think Sylvanas actually knew what the fuck was going on with the world's prison and all that shit. But now that line actually works out pretty well. Yeah, the world is a prison.
Titan. But of course that could just be speculation. We don't know it's a prison, do we? Has anyone actually asked Azeroth what she thinks? Maybe she really likes it. Well, it's funny you should ask that actually. We also learned that as they worked closer to the World Soul, many of the Earthen began acting strangely, and some were even turned into Thragar, crystal earthen.
Right.
And that's not the first time we've heard that term, Thragar, of course. Baelgrim refers to Magni as one when we arrive in Dornegal. So there were a whole bunch of Earthen working around the World Soul who turned into the same thing that Azeroth transformed Magni into when he became the Speaker of Azeroth. So to be clear, and sorry, I'm going to do a bit of a Dagran here, okay, but when Azeroth is enlisting dwarfs into her service to do stuff for her, she turns them into Thragar. It's like her uniform. And why would she do that to the Earthen working on the World Core that was being built around her to make her safe? Well, Arcadus says that the Thragar rebelled against the Titans and damaged the World Core. They were trying to break the World Soul free because she had asked them to.
Right.
So this thing...
So she doesn't want to be in this prison. She's not enjoying it. She wants to get out.
Is a prison, and the Titans are keeping Azeroth's World Soul in it against her will. What do you think about that, Dagran?
The Thragar? That's what they called Granda when he first got to Kazalgar.
Yeah, okay, mate. Well, you just let us know when you caught up, okay?
Wait. You don't suppose it was actually trying to reach your people? Asking for help? Like it did with my Granda?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And by the way, I don't think Azeroth's only asking for help to be freed. I believe she is recruiting an army. She is building up an army of Azeroth to fight against whatever the Titans are going to bring, whatever the Legion was going to be, all that stuff. So, like, the whispers to us, the whispers to the Thragar, basically the recruitment of all the denizens of Azeroth to fight on her behalf.
And undoing their directives?
What we're going to fight?
Was it
We'll see.
actually giving them free will?
Oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. Now look, I'm pretty sure that the story will play out that, yes, Azeroth was indeed giving the Thragar free will, released from their Titan edicts for sure, but it's probably worth noting Magni's state of mind at the beginning of the War Within, because he hated being Speaker at that point, felt like Azeroth was ignoring and isolating him, and talks about wanting to be set free from her service, implying that that free will Dagram refers to goes about as far as which godlike boss do I want to do the constant bidding of, rather than true free will to live how you like. That's how it seems to me anyway, but like I say, I would be surprised if that's where the story is actually going. At the end of this log entry, Brinth expresses surprise that she can't remember any of this happening, and like, I don't know, Brinth, maybe that's because you get your memories wiped every few centuries?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's just a guess, I don't know. Let's find out with log number 5. Arcadis says that the Thragar were hunted down until their threat was neutralized, which would imply that there are none left. But don't forget, this is the Titans we're talking about here. They are notoriously shit at neutralizing threat. Of the 3 old gods that they imprisoned, every single one escaped after all. So I think it's fair to speculate that there could indeed be some Thragar still left out there, or that Azeroth has created more somewhere else. She is building up a bit of an army now, to be fair. The dragon aspects are no longer empowered by the Titans.
That's right, I forgot to mention that. The dragon aspects are now part of her army too, and what were they aligned with previously? The Titans. What were the humans and dwarves and what were we previously aligned with? The Titans. So yes, all of these things, slowly chipping away at the Titans' resources and army to recruit to her own.
But by her, the world
This was
soul
such
itself.
a shitty cinematic, by the way.
Azeroth power was used to wake up the awakened Earth.
The Farak kill cinematic.
Depleted batteries for years, but then Arcadis drops the bombshell that finally destroys Brinth's faith in her Titan masters.
Hey everyone, Evie here.
Oh, there it is.
But for the last time this year. Sigh of relief. Here to say thank you to Squarespace
should sponsor
for
me.
sponsoring this video, and thank you to you, yes you, for watching. For real. You guys are the best. 2024 has been a year. There were ups, there were downs, and there was plenty of wow. But I wanted to wrap up this annum by celebrating the wins, immortalizing the good times, and adding a new section to our Squarespace website. We were lucky to be in the press a couple times this year, so I thought, let's legitimize our work on the channel in a way that my parents could see and understand, and let's make a press section. Very legitimate. Thankfully, adding a page onto a Squarespace site is as simple as it gets. Just press the plus sign and then you're good. There are loads of pre-formatted pages you can start with, but I went with a blank one. I chose a 3-column blurb and it was super easy to edit all the text and even add in links and a bit of formatting, for flavor. Probably my favorite part is the sheer number of visual formatting options you have. Dividers, wibbly backgrounds, fonts, and colors, all within your site's existing look and feel.
Square up your space.
So on brand. I love it. I added a title, Hey Mom, and voila, it's live. Squarespace even automatically adds a new link to your header to make sure your shiny new content doesn't get buried. And
can I ask something though? Why is it always a story when somebody finds love in a video game? Did you see that?
Content doesn't get buried. And
it was in that article title. It was like a couple finds love in a video. Yeah, who found life and love in a video game. It's like just the press always thinks that like we're some kind of what's it called? I don't know. We are some kind of like desireless creed that just withers away playing video games and drinking Mountain Dew. We can't reproduce. We can't do anything properly. So then when somebody finds love in it, they're like, oh shit, look at these guys. They know how to fuck. basically.
your header to make sure your shiny new content doesn't get buried.
What the hell, man?
That's it. I feel like 5% more legitimate, and my website is 500% bigger and better. It's science. Ready to wrap up 2024 on a high? Just head to
does have a full head of hair.
squarespace.com/TaliasInevitell for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain, and go wild. Toot your own horn. Or just use code TaliasInevitell if that's how you want to roll. That's
True, Moishy.
squarespace.com/TaliasInevitell. See you next year. Bye!
When we
There
arrive
it
in
is.
Donegal, we are told that earthen
Back
have
to the
their
lore.
memories wiped every time they get recharged. The implication being that thousands of years of memories gets in the way of their edicts and their sanity. But here, Arcadis reveals that no, actually the earthen's memories are wiped to delete their exposure to the world soul so she can't influence
That's
them
right.
like she did the Thragar. Can't give them, in Dagran's words, free will, and apparently destroying any that do. And Brinth is understandably a little bit upset about all this and vows to get all their memories back from the archive to find out what's what.
So the Keepers stole our memories and let us believe that it was for our own good. I
That's
want
right.
my memories back. I want all our memories back.
Yeah, go Brinth. And
Can I just say, like, the way the earthen deliver their lines, because they're supposed to kind of be emotionless, right? They're supposed to almost be robotic. It comes off as very funny sometimes when there's a dramatic moment and they just can't, like, they can't voice it properly.
and vows to get all their memories back from the archive to
Damn
find
the
out
kiddies,
what's
damn the
what.
dice.
Now, I have no doubt that will indeed happen at some point. Before we hopped around grabbing discs and handing them in to watch Arcadis' live journal entries, the archive was busted and unable to be accessed for 5,000 years. Who knows what we could find in there? And these two are right. It does call the entire history of Azeroth into question, while simultaneously
does.
confirming once and for all the most prevalent community theory out there in the last few years, that Azeroth is not a Titan, has never been a Titan, and
That's
that
right.
world souls in general aren't automatically Titans waiting to be born, but instead very powerful other beings that every realm in the cosmos wants to get hold of and basically imprint upon, so that
Yeah.
when it's born, it will be a super mega badass version of their own kind. Imprinting on world souls is how Titans are created, but if the Void get there first and successfully influence it, it could be born a Void Titan, or maybe a Void Lord, or God. Maybe this is how Naru are created.
Maybe, although I see Void Lords as much more powerful than Titans. I think they're like a step above what a Titan would be.
If the light imprints on them successfully, Beladar's light void cycle certainly fits in with that, or maybe it's a light being even more powerful than a Naru that we are yet to encounter. I know the writing's been on the wall with all this for a while now, but these logs really do appear to be setting them in stone for the World Soul Saga's arc and conclusion. I do have one other question though, because if Azeroth isn't a Titan, and I think it's pretty clear she's not
Right.
once does Arcadis describe the World Soul as a sleeping Titan, and when
Right.
the aspects were zapped with Azeroth's power at the end of Dragonflight, they said this is
Not
not
of the
Titan
Titans.
magic, which
Yeah.
is also a bit of a giveaway. So then, who is the last Titan? Because it's not Azeroth, is it? Well, we are obviously into the realms of pure speculation.
What is she? What will she become? Those are the two main questions that we don't have answers to yet. And those are the two questions that I think are going to be answered more so in Midnight in the Last Titan.
Now, of course, but I will say, if it were me writing the World Soul Saga, I would end the Midnight expansion with the promised Void attack on the Sunwell, and then when all looks
it
lost
is.
and the Void are on the brink of victory, the Titan Pantheon turns up, drawn back to the Azeroth that they sensed was in peril, to help us defeat Xal'atath and the forces of the Shadow once and for all.
Now this actually makes sense. Do you know why? Because this is Iridikron's plan. You got to remember, his whole team up with the Void is not because he's on their side. He trusts its hunger. You remember that when Viranath came up to him and she was like, you know, you're going to really team up with these guys? And he goes, I'm just doing what I got to do to bait the Titans back out. And what better way to bait the Titans back out than this exact storyline? The Void wins. They take over the Sunwell. It's going to basically infect the planet. Who has to come now and save us? The Titans, because we took the L, so now the Titans are coming back. They're going to push back against the Void and try to re-cleanse it and all that shit. Oh, the Titans are here? Enter Iridikron. And whatever the fuck his plan is to defeat the Titans. Who knows what it is? I still don't understand how he thinks he's going to be powerful enough to do it, but he has a plan. He has a plan, and the main part of his plan is bringing the Titans back to Azeroth.
But then, in our moment of victory and relief and celebration, Iridicron pops up and is all like,
Oh, there
hey,
you go.
remember me?
Yeah.
I let the Void lure the Titans here, and now my plan really starts.
No, the Titans' plan is not to save us, surely. No, it's not. Definitely. That's not what I'm saying. The Titans' plan is to influence or keep Azeroth in a stasis or make Azeroth, become part of their side. So if the Void is winning and taking over Azeroth, they're going to have to come back and fix that.
Presses
They don't
his
give a
Own
shit
the
about
Titans
us.
button that he's been working on this whole time in private and kills them. The whole Pantheon wiped out. And that's how I'd have Midnight end, with Iridicron.
The whole Pantheon except one. The last remaining Titan, Sargeras. He could be the last Titan. That is a theory out there.
Victorious, Titans dead, and nothing standing in his way to total world domination. And so the question is still, who is the last Titan? Well, who's the only one left? Who's the only one not
saying what I'm
in
saying?
The
I didn't pre-watch this.
Sargeras,
Makes
imprisoned
sense.
by Illidan somewhere in the cosmos.
That's
We
right.
decide that he is the only person badass enough to help us reclaim the world, and we have to convince Illidan to let him go, which probably won't be easy and may involve a boss fight. Sorry, Illidilly. With the Void no longer a threat, and there being no chance of them corrupting the world soul, there's no reason for Sargeras to want to destroy Azeroth anymore, and he helps us out. Thus ends my completely wild headcanon that I just...
What if Illidan, now we've talked about this before, Illidan, teaming up with Sargeras kind of thing, they both show up again. What if Illidan doesn't team up with Sargeras? Remains stubborn in his belief that Sargeras is the worst baddie there could possibly be, and refuses to release him. And kind of like what Taliesin hinted at right now, we gotta fight against Illidan again, this time killing him, to release the last Titan, because we know that that's what needs to happen in order to save, whatever we're saving Azeroth, or stifling the influence against Azeroth, whatever it is. And in Illidan's death, he finally realizes, he goes, you know what, I respect you guys, because you guys were willing to do anything. We're willing to do what it takes to save Azeroth, to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, that's Illidan's story arc, right? He gouged out his eyes. He consumed the skull of Gul'dan. Like, he did all this fucked up shit, beyond fucked up shit, because he believed that the pursuit of power was necessary to save the planet, right? And in the end, in his final breath, he realizes, damn, these guys just did what I've been doing all along. They killed me because they realized that releasing Sargeras was a necessary evil. Could be a nice ending to his story arc, honestly.
Came up with now. Merry Christmas. But what do you think? Where do these Titan Disc revelations leave us? Where are we heading? What will the ending of Midnight be, since we're apparently doing that now too? Let us know in the comments below. There is honestly nothing I love more than a big comments lore discussion. And thanks for joining us today and for another year of videos. It's been an awesome one for WoW in all its forms, and 2025 looks like it might just be extra special. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make all of our work happen. And seriously, patrons,
great video.
Thank you, because without you, we simply could not do what we do, and there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evertel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. And remember, my name is Dad of War. No, my name is Taliesin. From me and Evertel and all at T&E, Happy New Year and cheerio.
Yeah, Happy New Year, cheerio indeed. Yeah, great video. Great video. Illidan is more demon now than elf, so he would just come back again. Hey, I mean, that even makes this more believable, because does anyone truly die in World of Warcraft? No, we know that. Everyone can come back at some point. So, yeah, that whole fighting Illidan skit is not something I had actually thought about until now, but it makes sense. Would Illidan ever truly let Sargeras just walk free after his life's work was finally completed? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we would have to fight him. We'll see soon, but that storyline in general seems like the direction things are heading for the rest of the war within Midnight and The Last Titan.